Dustin, sometimes we run into people who are a little confused or having a problem with the statements of Paul in 1 Corinthians 15 and 47 or so.
Okay.
And you're, I'm sure, familiar with that, where that Paul's talking about the first man, Adam, and then this second Adam fellow, as it were.
Yeah.
And the question comes, we talk about the first Adam being of the earth, the second Adam being rather from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And so we said, well, okay, so the second Adam, who we would equate with Jesus, understand to be Jesus, he must have originally come from heaven then.
Right.
But I think that's probably a misunderstanding. What do you see in this passage?
Yeah, well, we all know that 1 Corinthians 15 is the big resurrection chapter. That's the purpose of this chapter. It's out to demonstrate that there is a future resurrection of the dead, even though there's lots of objections, and Paul has to try to answer these objections. And he's wondering, well, what's this new body going to be like? Is there continuity with the old body? Does it really matter what we do with our bodies right now? How does it relate to the body that we have now? How does it relate? And so it's important to kind of look at some of these, some of the context. So I'll start in verse 42. It says, "So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown a perishable body, but it's raised," or it's woken up, as an imperishable body. Okay, so there's a qualitative difference there. One of them is perishable. It's subject to futility. It's subject to dying. The other one is imperishable. It can't die. It can't break. Verse 43, "It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. Sown in weakness, raised in power." So again, the contrast is very clear. Verse 44 says, "It is sown a natural body," but the word here for natural is actually the word soulish, S-O-U-L, soulish, because the body given to Adam, which he's about to bring up, Adam was formed, Genesis 2:7, from the dust of ground. God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and he became a living soul, a living nephesh, or a nefesh chaya in Hebrew. So it was sown a natural body, a soulish body, but it was raised a spiritual body. So the contrast is one that was created from soul, to one that's created in the realm of spirit, in the realm of something that is incorruptible, by the way, in the realm of glory, in the realm of power. Okay? If there is a natural body, if there is a soulish body, then there's also a spiritual body. So, in the same way, verse 45 is also written, "The first man, Adam, became a living soul." He's citing Genesis 2:7 there. The last Adam, Jesus, notice he's the last Adam. He came chronologically after the first Adam. He became a life-giving spirit. The point is that Jesus, he's the initiator of the new order of humanity. He's the one that brings this about. He's the one that is the first person to have this new resurrection body, and he's coming back to raise people from the dead so they can share in this resurrection body. Just to make sure you didn't miss the point, though, Paul clarifies in verse 46, "However, the spiritual is not first." Jesus is not first before Adam, but the natural, the soulish body, the Adamic body, that came first, and then the spiritual. Just to make sure, he doesn't believe in any kind of pre-existence. Adam came first, Jesus came second. Then you have verse 47, "The first man was, Adam, he is out of the earth." It's from the earth, but he's out of the earth. His body is formed and belongs to the earthly realm, the realm of just kind of the created order. But the second man, notice Jesus called a man, a member of the human race, okay? This body is from the heavenly realm. It's from heaven. So he's not talking about where Jesus came from. He's saying the body,
not in the sense of origination.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
he's saying. By the way, he's the second Adam. He didn't come from heaven. He's but he's saying that when we talk about the two bodies, one of them is perishable. It's sown in dishonor. It's sown in weakness. It's a soulish body. The other body, by the way, I'm just going down the list. It's imperishable. It's sown in glory. It's sown in power. It's from the realm of spirit, which means it's imperishable. It's part of this. If God's new creation is in the realm of spirit. It doesn't mean immaterial, by the way. It means it's definitely materialized. Mm-hmm. Jesus showed himself to his disciples after he was raised from the dead, and he says, "Touch me, look at me, put your hands." He walked, he made footprints. He was not just some sort of phantasm or ghost. I mean, the realm of spirit means it's the realm of God's new created order, and that's Jesus is a part of that. And so, while some people would say that 1 Corinthians 15:47 is speaking about pre-existence, the comparison is between the old and the new. So the new body, which Jesus now possesses, is a fresh gift from heaven. And I think that's the key to unlocking this passage.
Yeah. So we're not talking about the origination of Jesus Christ.
Right.
We're talking about, however, how he came to be this being, which is a spiritual body, as it were, rather than the natural body that he had
Right.
before he died and before his resurrection. And I like the thought then that came second. In any event,
Absolutely.
Adam comes first, then Jesus comes.
Yeah.
He's coming in afterwards.
Yeah.
And this new creation that begins with Jesus, he is the firstborn, if you will, from the dead.
Right.
He is the first in this new creation of God, of indestructible folks, of which we're participating by the grace of God. But Jesus comes second, and that body that he possesses now came by way as a gift from heaven. I like that, as you're saying. It's interesting to me, a couple of things, like I noticed Paul is saying there that this is a man we're talking about in both cases.
Absolutely.
Very important. It's the man. Well, the man didn't come before Adam, for goodness sakes. I mean, the first fellow there is Adam, and the man, Jesus, was born long after Adam of Mary, and as the only begotten true human Son of God.
Yeah.
But I like that he's a man who now has taken on this immortality, who's received immortality, and I like the word in the translation there too. Adam became a living soul.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't a living soul until he became that.
Yeah.
And here we got Jesus now has become a life-giving spirit.
Right.
He wasn't that until he became that.
Right.
So not only has he received this wonderful new existence, indestructibility, and unending life in himself, this body that he has, but he also now is able, by the power of God, he extends it on to his disciples and those who will be a part of John 5 again, isn't it? We keep mentioning that. God has given him to have life in himself and to extend that on to others. Well, when did God give him to have life in himself? He was at the resurrection, I think.
Absolutely.
And so it's very nice, yeah. So this isn't too hard either, is it? It's very nice.
No.
I don't see anything in here about Jesus existing before Adam. Or because he's saying the opposite.
Yeah.
And certainly not anything about Jesus originated as a being in heaven. That's not true either.
Yeah. Because human beings don't originate in heaven.
That's pretty important. Isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're a human being, you did not originate in heaven. I think that's an important
We
part
may
of it.
say that about your wife.
Well, no, there you go.
Yeah.
We sometimes say we have a little child who was from heaven, but we don't mean that too literally. But so it wasn't Jesus originating in heaven, but his new life that he has, where he has become a life-giving spirit,
Absolutely.
this power that God's given him to pass this new life on to his fellows.
Right.
That did come from heaven, and that's
Absolutely.
wonderful. Yeah, I like that a lot.